if you say, do some communities have more racist cops than others? Sir. I'm telling you that racism on the police department is very rare, especially in black communities.
You've been in every police department?
No, I know police officers all over the country, black,
that's
white.
Good for you. I believe the community members. I don't believe y'all allow police.
They want police. If you look at any black community in America,
they want honest police.
They want more police officers.
They want honest police.
And most of them get honest police.
Hey, thank you for watching Power to the Pod, where we're committed to an intellectual integrity and a moral honesty. I'm your host, Superior, and once again, thank you for watching. Now, in this video, I want to tell you that miracles do happen, okay? Like when you wish upon a star and you're asking for amazing content to fall into your lap, sometimes you just have to be ready to receive it by faith. You got to be able to receive those things by faith. And one of the most clownest of clowns that I've ever had to clown in my life, Mr. Officer Tatum. I done almost forgot about him because of the Candace Owenses, the plenty of morons, the Matt Washes, the Ben Shapiros. You almost forget that there's clowns that need to be clowned upon. And when I seen this video, Mr. Officer Tatum stepped back into the bullpen with Mr. Dr. Richey. I had to stop what I was doing. I had to stop everything and watch this interaction. And hey, Dr. Richey never fails to deliver. I was like a little boy at a candy shop because I knew that Officer Tatum was going to make a fool out of himself. But without further ado, let's go ahead, watch this together, and let's have that conversation.
My dear brother's back. Brandon Tatum, former police officer, author of Beaten Black and Blue, being a black cop in an America under siege. Officer Tatum, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Thank you for having me back, my brother. I'm doing well.
All right, man. Okay, well, let's get into it. I see you've been talking reckless about me on your YouTube page over there. We'll address that later.
I don't know if that's reckless.
It's reckless.
Facts.
Oh, okay. You about to see how reckless it is in a minute.
Okay. Hey. First off, this is my YouTube channel, so I get to pause it when I feel like it, but you can't tell. It's only 38 seconds in, minus his intro, and it's already off. This dude is not ready. Officer Tatum is not ready. He needs to get back into the gym and get his weight up. You don't mess. Come on, bro. You gotta come correct, man. Come correct.
So let's get into policing versus public safety. That is the agreed to debate format today. I think it is a separation. I don't want to presume what you know, believe about those two dynamics. So if you would, give us your sentiment and I will opine.
Yeah, I think this is one and the same. If you ask me my opinion, based on my experience as a police officer, you do both, right? You're policing, you're adhering to the laws, the Constitution, you enforce those laws, but then also you have a duty and a responsibility to connect with the community and to use your resources that are available to you to make the best outcome that you can when interacting with the public. I think those things are interchangeable. They go one hand in hand, and then you cannot have one without the other.
All right, so I see it differently. I see policing as a separate operation.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let me go ahead and rewind it. When I first heard Officer Tatum say that, okay, when I first, I don't know what happened there, but when I first heard him say that, I was like, that sounds like a pretty decent answer. That sounds like something that if he was to just say to me, I would probably, without any further thinking and kind of doing some reading but you would think something like that would be like, Dr. Richey would agree to that, right? But this is why it's so important to listen to individuals who are more intellectual than yourself, because then you learn something. At first I was like, hey, that sounds pretty right. But once you hear what Dr. Richey has to say about that, then it's like, oh, bro, it's layers to this. You have to be a certain individual to be able to break that down even further. And that's what he's about to do. But watch how someone can't even comprehend this. Watch.
All right, so I see it differently. I see policing as a separate operation, but connected. So for example, I think public safety is the overall goal. Policing is one methodology to obtain that goal. I have what's called a 5-tier public safety directive. A 5-tier directive says here are your 5 pillars, and every government has to do these things and do them well to have an effective public safety model. 1, fire service. 2, law enforcement. 3, emergency medical, EMS. 4, mental health. And 5, preventative programs. Now, that's your public safety model, okay? Policing has become conflated. I agree. There's a conflation now of policing and public safety. It is not the same. It is not the same. And that is evidenced by the reality that police often will say, we're not trained to deal with this, and they will name something that is an issue in public safety. If there's a mental health disorder, police officers are typically not well equipped or well trained to deal with that element. Well, is it a safety dynamic? Yes, it can be a safety dynamic for members of the community. Also, preventative measures. Police officers are reactionary. They come typically when somebody calls 911. Or when they have seen something that seems illegal, right? That is the normative rule. So they can't be preventative by the definition and design of their operation. They are not crime preventers. They are typically crime fighters. So I submit to you, dear brother, that we have somehow gotten off course here as it relates to public safety and policing, where many people are thinking like you, that in order to have public safety, you must have a massive police budget. But police officers admit many elements of public safety in a community, they are simply unable to address, no matter how much money you give them. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I don't think it's that you have a massive police department and a massive budget. You just need to have an effective budget and an effective police department. And we need to have police officers that are adequately trained, right? Because we can't just avoid a mental health scenario. If just say we go to a domestic violence situation and the husband is mentally ill, as a police officer, you still have to enforce the law, and we should be well trained enough to deal with it as efficient and effective as possible. Police officers will never be social workers. That's not the field that they're in, but you can have a level of communication, a level of training that can help you deal with these situations in the best way you can when the situation presents itself. Like we were CIT trained, crisis intervention trained. We took 40 hours of training. We learned a lot about mental illness. We learned how to de-escalate, but we can only do so much. But I think it's invaluable that we have that level of training, and it will help police officers be effective. We cannot avoid the fact that law enforcement has to get involved. And I want to touch real quick on a proactive side. That's why funding police is important. So police are not just reactive, they can be proactive. And being proactive meaning you have enough police officers that they can go out and patrol the community. We get a flyer of a suspect that's at large. We can go find that person instead of just going call to call to call to call and not being proactive.
Okay, so let me just, cause at first it seemed like he was on the same page as Dr. Richey, but then at the end he was like, but we need more funding so we can, I guess that's his way of being proactive instead of always active, always second, always chasing. But unless you're gonna get billions of dollars to like somehow create a time machine and kind of prevent crimes from happening, that's not what Dr. Richey's talking about. He's talking about, for example, poverty is usually the driving issue on why crime happens. So if you can prevent poverty, if you can put out education, put out good jobs, then that can prevent crimes that has to do with poverty. That's what Dr. Richey, I think he's trying to aim at. But of course, once again, this guy once missed it like this. It was like, but we need more money so we can like stroll down the street and like hand out flyers and catch guys. That's not being proactive. That's still chasing. You're not preventing. You're still doing what you. Come on. Come.
You said police officers are not social workers. That's actually factually untrue. There are a number of police officers today who are in fact social workers. They have a master's of social work. Some of them have a PhD and they work in law enforcement. Some of them actually carry guns. Some of them have decided not to. That has become a new dynamic in the progression of law enforcement, where you do have social workers who are on police forces. And many of these police forces have seen a significant connection between community and cop, or community and policing, because they decided to progress with the community itself. I will give you Ithaca, New York. Ithaca, New York, they did some revolutionary things, all right? They brought in social workers. They also did an exhaustive psychological examination at the end of the training and written exam and everything else. They did an exhaustive psychological evaluation of those cops. These are people that qualify to be cops, brother. They were about to get the badge, all right? 75% of them failed. 75% of those officers failed that psychological evaluation. The 25% that made it, however, the 25% that did pass, not one of those cops, this is years now, not one of those officers have given the citizens of Ithaca, New York, an issue at all.
Dr.
What do you
Richey,
say to that data?
No, I think that's what we're supposed to do. And it seems as if you are speaking of this as if it was new. When I joined the police department in 2011, we did the same thing.
No, so you said that police officers, you said police officers are not social workers. I just gave an example of one department that decided to bring in social workers as police officers, or replace police officers with social workers, because they found out that 50% of their calls, they actually didn't need an officer, they needed a social worker. And so they decided to create their policing model based on the community model.
So I'm not sure if you guys are starting to see the breadcrumbs that Dr. Richey is trying to lead Mr. Tatum to. Like, here's the truth right here. And some people, you can't just give them the truth. They don't have the arms. They don't have the muscle to carry that kind of truth. So you got to feed them little by little, and hopefully they come to a position to be like, I get it. This is where not defunding the police, but taking some of those funds and reallocating them into areas that is needed for a community. That's where he's trying to get to. When I seen this the first time, I already knew where he was going with this. Like, I get it. But it's once Mr. Officer Tatum understands where he's leading, the Republican grift kicks in. He's like, whoa, hold on. Can't do this. Can't do that. I will get fired. I will lose all my funding, and I will be homeless. So you're going to see that just kick in, and then he's just going to act all brand new. Watch.
Right, and I don't have any problem with that if it's effective and efficient for the community. Let me just give you an example of what we did. We didn't have to replace any police officers, but we incorporated what we did with the specialists in social work. So what we would do, we'll go to a domestic violence situation. The police officer will make sure the scene is safe, arrest people if we need to, and then we will stand there on scene and allow a social worker to come and deal with the victim of a domestic violence situation or their children. So we partnered in an intimate way with that particular situation, which I think is great. I'm not opposed to a community saying, hey, we don't need this many police. We need more of this. We need more of that.
I think we'll agree. So let me take you to Chicago.
Now, first off, how many times have we heard people like Officer Tatum say, no, we need more police in these ghettos, in these hoods. We need more police. Just more, just throw them everywhere. But now all of a sudden if a community doesn't need that many policing, then that's the catch right there. He's like, wait, I shouldn't have said that. Because now the next time that he's spouting out saying, we just need to, hire more police into this area, then you'll be like, wait, is that really what that community, what that area needs, is just more policing? Or maybe we could take a different approach. And if that approach needs more money, maybe we should take it from that inflated police police money. Maybe. Watch.
Chicago has cops that are paid higher than the national average. They have more cops than they've ever had before, plenteous, and they still have one of the worst crime solve rates in the United States of America. So just giving a cop or giving police officers, giving a department a bunch of money to hire a bunch of cops to pay them more money does not necessarily equate to a reduction in crime. As a matter of fact, if you, go ahead, sir.
I'll say, Dr. Richey, I just want to make this a point. You know, just because police have what they need to be successful in trying to prevent crime, don't stop people from being criminals and stop people from acting out. And then here's another thing: you have to have you have to have policies. You have to have policies in place too, because police can only arrest so many people. You take them down there and they don't prosecute people, or they incentivize or decriminalize certain things. Then we exacerbate the criminal behavior.
Whoa. I swear to you, he's having one of those moments. He's taking the breadcrumbs. He's being honest. This is what happens when you're having a conversation and you're being honest. You're not just trying to sit here and play gotcha moments and trying to just, play these word games just so you can have, your 10-second viral moment. This is what happens when you're being honest in a conversation. Be like, hey, police can't do everything. Police can't just arrest everybody. Police, you can give them billions of dollars, doesn't mean crime is gonna go lower. That just doesn't work. The math doesn't math like that. So you need policies that will somehow solve these underlining problems in these communities. I mean, hey, now we're starting to sound a little progressive here. More money, education, healthcare, opportunities, actually funding in these impoverished areas instead of the suburbs and, the more healthier areas. I mean, maybe we're starting to sound a little progressive here, but like I said, it's gonna click. He's gonna be like, "Whoa, I'm on the wrong side of the line here," and he's gonna flip it. And it's gonna be like, "What the hell just happened?" It sounds like they're gonna be like holding hands and singing "Kumbaya" in a couple of seconds. I wish, but let's watch.
Man, I really appreciate you opening that gateway. So let me submit something to you, because you've said some things that actually do make sense. And it's proper.
I always make sense.
No, sir, you don't. So let me bring you back to a comment you made in reference to policing. 100% of the time, the reason why police departments receive more money is because they are pitched to the community as the best way to reduce crime in their community. Now,
where are you getting that information from? Because that's when we got a bigger budget.
Okay. I'm going to go
nothing to do with what you're referring to.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you. You can look up virtually any report over the last 10 years where mayor has stood up and said, we have to give our police officers more money. They've always utilized the requisite dynamic of crime or criminality in order to make the case that we need more money for the police budget to effectively fight crime. Here's the point I want to make to you. You said something about Ithaca, New York that I actually think is true. You said good for Ithaca, basically, because if it works for that community, it works for that community. And you want what works. That's a public safety model. That is a public safety attitude. We want what works. That is what we desire, okay? So let's say there's a community that spends $1 billion a year on police. And the community says, you know what?
Here it is.
We still have crime increasing. Nothing is changing. We keep giving you more money. We keep hiring more cops, and we keep getting increased crime. So instead of 1 billion, we're going to now say, let's cut that to 750 million and use 250 million for preventative, mental health, or wherever else those dynamics are located. If it's connected to a crime of survival, if it's connected to drug and alcohol use, if it's connected to being unsheltered, if it's connected to not having a job, if it's connected to not having a skill set, let's address the underlying issues before they get to the place of criminal contact. So let's try that with our 250 million. let's decrease the policing budget to increase our public safety budget because that works for our community. Would you agree with that, sir?
Now, I now that I'm listening to this again, when he said decrease the police funding, that's code word for defund the police. And if Officer Tatum was to be like, you know what? You're right. That's going to essentially put him on the wrong side of the fight. That's well,
Dr. Richey, I would agree with it on at face value, but we have to understand the dynamic. Like the problem that I think we're facing is that people are saying, let's eliminate the police because they're racist. Let's eliminate the police because they're bad.
Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are. It's very rare, but some of them are.
Oh, okay, well, it shouldn't happen at all, brother.
Okay. I wish Dr. Richey would have just pressed him. Be like, hey, we're not gonna, because now they're gonna sidetrack. I wish he would have been like, hey, don't try to sidetrack. Do you believe if we could take some of those funds and put those in different areas in a community that will try to solve, some of the underlying issues? No one who is taken seriously has ever said we need to eradicate police. I don't trust anybody enough to have no police officers around. So trust me, no one is having a serious conversation about demolishing police officers here in America. So it's just weird. I wish Dr. Richey would be like, hey, no one is saying that. That's not the topic at hand. We're talking about defunding by, whatever mathematics, for his example. Do you agree that that's going to work? But now all of a sudden he's going into fight mode. He's going into people are saying police are all races. Who's saying that? People want to get rid of policing. Who is saying that? Now he's just throwing up strawman arguments. And it's like, no, we were almost there. We were this close of coming to an understanding, to an agreement that we don't need to inflate the police budget in thinking that's going to solve poverty. That's going to solve the underlying issues. No, we were almost there, but now it's about to get crazy.
Yeah, some of them are. It's very rare, but some of them are.
Oh, okay, well, it shouldn't happen at all, brother. Especially when
we're humans.
That they're racist and they get to keep their jobs.
No.
Come on, man.
It's human nature. There's racist people everywhere. You're right, it is.
Listen, sir, bias,
but it's not
bias, hyper-bias, all that's human nature, dear brother. You don't need a gun in the badge. You don't need a gun in the badge.
But in retrospect, in reality, when I say reality of policing, it's very rare. Most other professions have way more adverse.
What?
Most professions have a lot more adverse employees than police. It's rare that you'll have a racist police officer.
Tell me
it's absolutely rare.
Tell me what industry.
I never, in the medical industry.
In the medical industry,
you can go to your pulpit. You can go to your pulpit at your churches. You can go on television. You can get to any profession. You will see more dynamics of racial issues than you do in policing.
Okay, every other profession is more racist than the police, is what you're saying.
I have never met a racist police officer when I was a police officer for 6.5 years.
Who you done met, sir?
I've been.
It has nothing to do
the Black National Police Association.
Macrocosm of data.
I was in the. What are you saying? I did this for a living. How many police officers do you know? How many police officers do you know? How many police officers do you know?
You would like me to answer that question, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, okay. So he said, I have never met a racist cop in my life. And he's saying this because, he was a police officer. Wow, you've never met one. Everybody else is tripping. Everybody else has experienced things that we've seen on tape. We seen with our own eyes. We heard with our own ears. It's all lies. It's all fake because Mr. Officer Tatum has never met a racist cop. It's not as inflated. It's not as important as we think it is because this one guy has never met a racist cop. That'd be crazy, right?
Yes.
I know probably personally, maybe 11, 12 police officers.
How many of them are racist?
Hold on, dear brother. Hold on.
How many are racist?
Brother, I'm going to answer the question the way I choose to.
Okay.
So I know about 11 to 12 officers. All of them are in executive leadership of some sort, chief, sheriffs, progressive, good people. They have racist cops. They have racist cops that I myself have had to report against. And my friend and I, we've talked long about how this individual already had problems before that day happened. So while you may say, well, I've never met a racist cop, well, good for you. You're a lucky one.
Well, why don't they fire them then?
Cops.
Why won't they fire them if they
they know,
and they're executive, they're in executive position, they won't fire them?
Sir, that is exactly the point. That's my point. Don't think I.
But then why are your friends who are in executive positions hiring racist police officers or training police officers that allow racism on the police department?
The context that I'm referring to is a sheriff that just won an election and he had racist cops that were already there. When they looked at the guy's internal file, they found that he had problematic issues before that day. He had nothing to do with the hiring, but he fired the guy and he had him arrested. So now I come back to this, sir. You know police can be racist.
I do. There are police officers out there that are racist.
Well, other people are more racist than the police.
No, I'm saying that
a government job,
exactly
highly trusted, and it shouldn't happen.
Right, I would love to believe that. I think that people should never commit a sin, but it's the way humanity is, unfortunately. Right. So there are people that take advantage of the badge. There are people that take advantage of.
Okay. I hear this plenty of times. What Dr. Richey is trying to express, and one thing that we need to understand when having these conversations with other individuals who are saying this exact same thing. You would not say the same thing. You would not have the same standards for a doctor operating on your loved one. Hey, this doctor might have a shady history of, leaving knives in patients, not washing their hands, not following proper procedures, and, just kind of, he killed 3 people at the other hospital, but we just transferred him over here because, doctors got to watch out for other doctors, right? So, things just happen. You be like, no, hey, I don't care what you think. Get me someone who has a clean history and actually has a history, a past, a following procedure to the T, because you're not going to operate on my loved one. It's the same thing with policing. If anything, that might be a little worse because you actively are giving people weapons and a shield to hide behind so they don't have to face any or if very little consequences of their actions. You're giving them a gun that kills people. I don't know if you know that, but guns can kill people. And the state is giving guns to these people. So you think it'd be more of a vetting process, more obstacles, something to prevent. Yes, I know everyone's going to have their issues. There's going to be biases in a lot of people. But no, after a lot of the stories I've been hearing the past 2 years, some of these individuals are well known in their community as being that racist guy. The story we heard a couple weeks ago when the sheriff was like, yeah, if it was back in the old days, we'll beat them in the back and hang them up on a tree. It's like, I know other officers know that he's racist, but we wouldn't know that unless we heard him, which we did. So it's like, come on, buddy.
So, you have never ran into a racist cop. You don't think racist cops exist to a high level in some communities?
Let me just say this.
Have more racist cops than others?
Well, if you say do some communities have more racist cops than others, I'm telling you that racism on the police department is very rare, especially in black communities.
You've been in every police department?
No, I know police officers all over the country, black,
that's
white.
Good for you. I believe the community members. I don't believe y'all. Y'all allowing police.
They want police. If you look at any black community in America,
they want honest police.
They want more police officers.
They want honest police, sir.
And most of them get honest police. Who do you think picking these young brothers up off the street and investigating crimes?
I appreciate
Who investigating rapes in the black community?
Sir, no one is saying no police are necessary. We want good police, and that's not a bad thing. We don't want bad police, and we're able to make that demand.
I agree with you.
Thank you, sir, for being on the show.
Oh, whoa. Hey, okay. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and put that down. I told you that was going to be a special one. Okay, so a few things that I have gathered from this video, which I hope that you guys to a certain extent will understand and kind of add into your arsenal, okay? No one is advocating for no police, or at least not in this reality today. We were almost close to an understanding that adding more police officers doesn't equate to lower crimes. It might be in some communities. I didn't take a poll in every single community in America, but overall, it doesn't work. We need to sit down and understand the root cause of some of these crimes, and I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, it has to do with poverty, not having enough. That's simple. If we can focus and put millions of dollars into, we might. Let's go ahead and try that. And if it doesn't work, then we can say it doesn't work. So that seems to be the biggest hurdle for a lot of people to understand. And once Officer Tatum understood that that's the road that Dr. Richey was leading him, he backed off. He said, wait. First off, police aren't racist, and people are saying we don't need police. Like, no, now you're just talking. Now you just put up your talking points. No, that's not what people are saying. And then at the end, when they're having their discussion, we know police can be racist. We know there's a lot of instances out there with police acting on that racist or on their bias or just in general just being real hateful. Like, I done seen a lot, and it's like, there's no excuse for that. We know that is an issue in policing that needs to be addressed, especially in black and brown communities. That is a problem. And if you think about this, you're out of your mind. You don't understand. So, but once again, am I incorrect? Let me know in the comments. And like always, let's have that conversation.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to join the conversation by subscribing. Make sure to tune in next time, and like always, power to you, power to me, power to the people, power to the pod.